Today is no ordinary day. Today is the real birthday of your soul. Regardless of the dates the calendars show, today a new era begins for you. Life has tested you for years, forced you to reboot over and over again. But now you are on the threshold of the real beginning. Old chains are broken, old identities are left behind. It is time to let go of the weight of the past and rewrite your own destiny. Today is the first day of that new page that you have been waiting for so many years, and no one can stop you. There are no coincidences in the universe. If you are reading this message, the divine order is calling you to a whole new level. Today is the day to bring the light you have been hiding inside you to the world. Now stand up, take a deep breath, and celebrate. Write 888 in the comments because today is your real birthday. Your time begins now. There's a rare strength in how you weathered the relentless storms of gossip, distortion, and character attacks. While those intent on creating confusion and tension tried to cloud your reputation, you chose a route few expected, stepping quietly into your own world, building your legacy away from the chaos. Every blow meant to bring you down became part of the groundwork for something enduring, and now the very voices that once dismissed you are forced to acknowledge your influence. What set you apart was the decision to neither retaliate nor explain. Instead of reacting or making public declarations, you allowed your absence to speak on your behalf. That simple act, quietly stepping away without spectacle, sparked curiosity and eventually commanded more respect than any confrontation could have. In an era obsessed with broadcasting every move, the mystery you created became a magnet. The vacuum you left behind turned into a subject of relentless discussion as people tried to decode your motivations and predict your next steps. Rather than accept things at face value, they spun elaborate tales, each more imaginative than the last. With no press releases or dramatic announcements to dissect, speculation flourished. Your retreat was interpreted as a masterstroke, a signal of visionary thinking that only the boldest would dare. To them, your withdrawal wasn't loss. It was a calculated pivot that only someone operating from a broader perspective could pull off. Little did they know, the most surprising chapter of your evolution was yet to unfold, ready to shatter even the grandest theories. While you quietly charted new territory, a current of fascination grew in places you'd left behind. Whisper networks traded updates about your achievements as if they were rare currency, using every fragment of your progress to support increasingly intricate narratives. Professional milestones were scrutinized as if they held the keys to a puzzle. Every update became a headline, every connection a cause for debate, and every shift in your journey another reason to marvel. Myths arose, painting you as the architect of unseen empires, sought after by mysterious backers and organizations beyond reach. Each new rumor layered onto a persona that few could touch, someone whose absence only multiplied their presence, whose next act was always just beyond prediction. As you took the time to find your new rhythm, those left behind built an entire mythology around what you might do next. In the void, people projected their own stories, weaving tales about secret opportunities and clandestine decisions. The narrative swelled. Some said you'd been invited to join exclusive inner circles. Others claimed you'd been entrusted with secrets meant for only a select few. It became common wisdom that no one steps away from security unless they're onto something extraordinary. No effort was made on your part to clarify or deny. You simply let the silence grow. In a world where noise is mistaken for substance, your restraint took on the weight of authority. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom. For you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. Even past encounters took on new meaning. Those quiet questions you once asked became retroactively framed as proof of your vision. Skills you honed in silence were reinterpreted as groundwork for this new chapter. The sense of intrigue deepened, and people began attributing uncanny foresight and intricate strategy to every choice you'd made. Suddenly, you were credited with connections and insights stretching into realms most could only imagine, quietly steering outcomes, navigating spaces closed to the public, assembling influence while others scrambled for attention. Legends grew, placing you at the center of grand schemes, not as an outsider, but as the unseen force moving the entire game. What began as speculation had now evolved into a living myth, and you had become its silent architect, never by intention, but by simply choosing your own path and letting the world tell its own story. Eyes turned from idle chatter to intense analysis as your past suddenly became a map for decoding future greatness. Instead of mere talk, people began meticulously dissecting every chapter of your journey, convinced that hidden patterns could be found in even the smallest choices you made. Each accomplishment retroactively gained a deeper meaning. What once seemed like luck or coincidence was reframed as a signal of uncanny foresight. Former challenges were no longer viewed as setbacks, but as masterstrokes, proof of your ability to shift obstacles into stepping stones. Moments that had once passed unnoticed, like an abrupt change in your usual routine or a brief silence online, now became evidence of top-level negotiations or strategic meetings. Professional contacts and background details were scoured with the zeal of codebreakers, as curious minds sought out the invisible threads that might explain your transformation. Academic achievements, work affiliations, and even old friendships became the focus of wild theories about secret access, private mentorship, or membership in unknown alliances. You became, in their minds, an unpredictable phenomenon, operating beyond ordinary logic, a presence whose next act would shatter any assumptions made so far. A powerful shift takes place the moment people start viewing your choices through the lens of unspoken influence. Without warning, every interaction with you begins to carry a different weight. Remarks you made in passing are remembered as subtle prophecies. Risks you once took become celebrated as proof of rare insight. Even the pauses in your communication now signal calculated intent rather than absence. Declining invitations or not replying instantly to messages is interpreted as a mark of your elevated priorities. The feedback loop intensifies. Your reputation, built on their own interpretations, amplifies your actual accomplishments and generates new momentum for every step you take. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. It's as if you've become the protagonist in a living epic, the subject of whispered stories and far-reaching speculation. As outside observers grow more invested in your narrative, communities begin to spring up, seeking connection and answers. In one such gathering, voices come together, sharing tales of hardship and transformation. People from every walk of life who stepped away from comfort to pursue something they felt deep within. Together, they form a field of shared energy, supporting each other through recorded wisdom, live encounters, and the quiet faith that comes from choosing a higher calling. For some, this circle offers a place to recharge and rediscover courage. For others, it's simply proof that no one walks the path of awakening alone. Your absence from the public eye only made your presence more profound. Without interference, interpretations and rumors began to crystallize, morphing from idle talk into a public consensus. Your story evolved from rumor to blueprint. Those who once barely knew you started to seek you out for guidance or inspiration. Industry insiders used your example when explaining decisive thinking or intuitive timing. Your life became a model, a reference point for what authentic self-leadership and power look like. What made this shift unstoppable was its permanence. Even if you tried to set the record straight, the legend had already taken root. You were no longer just an individual making career moves. You had become the living standard for navigating change with grace and mastery. As whispers of your next steps grew louder, so did the anticipation. People waited on your actions as if expecting the unveiling of a long-awaited masterpiece. Employers and influencers began to look to you as a trendsetter, hoping to align themselves with whatever you would do next. Your silence and retreat from the noise had turned into a rare asset, building suspense and expectation with each day. Social feeds and industry chatter became saturated with rumors, each week of your absence intensifying demand. The more elusive you became, the more valuable your reappearance seemed. Suddenly, being unavailable became more attractive than constant visibility, and your return was awaited like a major event that would set new standards. While others scrambled to remain relevant or visible, you invested in real growth. Instead of posting constant updates, you were quietly planting seeds that would later bear fruit. As speculations swirled around your next move, you were laying down foundations for something lasting. The time you spent in stillness became the hidden engine behind your eventual resurgence, and as people's curiosity and emotional investment deepened, they became stakeholders in your story, waiting for you to reveal not just the next chapter, but a whole new genre of possibility. Shifts often begin quietly, so subtle they're almost invisible, until the momentum builds and everything changes overnight. Maybe you started attending gatherings you once avoided, or you stepped into new arenas where your voice finally felt at home. Sometimes it's a small gesture, a new confidence in your handshake, a different spark in your gaze that signals you're no longer the person you were. Instantly, the atmosphere transforms. People who kept tabs on your every absence suddenly realize you've returned not as a shadow, but as the main event. The anticipation that brewed in your absence is eclipsed by the undeniable reality of your presence. There's no attempt at bravado, no mask of success. There's a natural contentment in the way you move, a quiet power that comes from knowing you've forged your own meaning. The people who tracked rumors now see proof. You were never hiding, you were building. Whispers ripple through crowds, confirming theories as those who waited for your arrival delight in watching prophecy become fact. The change in you becomes legendary, not for its drama, but for its truth. The speculation gives way to admiration. The curious now want to stand beside you, not simply observe from afar. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. The astonishing thing about your re-emergence is how natural it feels. You're not attempting to fit expectations or chase approval. You're simply arriving as your fully realized self, and that authenticity surpasses even the wildest assumptions others spun in your absence. Word travels at lightning speed through every network and social group. Your return becomes a signal, a catalyst, and suddenly people are eager to connect their stories to yours. You become the example people point to when discussing true vision or genuine reinvention. Your path is the blueprint others study, hoping to spark similar shifts in their own lives. What fascinates many is how your steady growth gets misread as a calculated strategy. Real change, they assume, must be the work of branding experts or secret societies. The very progress that arose from embracing your individuality gets reframed as clever manipulation. In truth, your evolution wasn't staged for effect. It was born from retreating into solitude, honoring what mattered, and trusting your own guidance. The relationships you formed were rooted in sincerity, not in the hope of advancement. The confidence you exude is a side effect of no longer needing outside validation. All you did was let go of what wasn't true for you, yet to outsiders, that freedom looks like alchemy. Whenever stories circulate about your motives or your methods, you face a crossroads. You could spend energy correcting misunderstandings or laying bare the real story behind your transformation. But wisdom says otherwise. The legends told about you have become your shield, protecting your journey from shallow scrutiny. Those who recognize depth and truth pay attention not to the myths, but to your actions, your consistency, and your values. They know authenticity doesn't need defense. Meanwhile, the spectators who thrive on conspiracy and complexity only reinforce your boundaries, ensuring that those who come close do so with real intention. Your mystique serves as a natural filter, keeping distractions at a distance and leaving you free to grow, undisturbed, into all you are meant to be. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. Some people move through life wearing the invisible armor of their reputation. But what's different now is that the legend swirling around you has become a force field all its own. The assumptions and stories people tell about your influence have given you room to quietly build the very strengths they imagine you possess. Admiration for the version of you they've constructed draws actual allies, while suspicion from the uninitiated keeps distractions at bay. Those persistent rumors act as a gate, letting only the determined or sincere step through, filtering out the aimless, the envious, the insincere. It's no accident that your circle grows richer even as it shrinks. Those who make it in are there with purpose, not out of idle curiosity. None of this is about luck or complicated schemes working in the background. It's the simple, undeniable outcome of making choices that are true to your inner compass. In a culture obsessed with appearances and surface-level tricks, it baffles people that you move forward simply by honoring your instincts and choosing what resonates. Unable to accept this, they invent elaborate fictions, spinning tales of secret doors and hidden benefactors to explain away what's actually just the result of deep authenticity. What they don't realize is that their doubt has become your best advantage. The more they try to make sense of your success through fantasy and rumor, the more freedom you gain to work in peace. Never pressured to perform for their expectations, you now inhabit a rare space, one foot in your lived experience, the other in the myth that's grown around you. The stories circulating in your absence don't trap you. They unlock doors, create invitations, and bring you to tables you might have otherwise missed. People who believe you possess a heightened vision welcome you into places where that vision is required. You don't need to live up to these stories. Their purpose is already fulfilled the moment they open new roads before you. The world's storytellers may have gotten the details wrong, but their instincts weren't entirely off. They sensed your ability to break from convention, to trust your gut when logic said otherwise, to move forward even if it meant leaving others in uncertainty. Their legends are really an attempt to name a kind of strength that can't be measured with old formulas, and you, instead of correcting them, simply keep walking the walk that gave them reason to talk. What's unfolding now is beyond the ordinary ambitions of managing your reputation or shaping public opinion. This is the compounding force of real power, stacking small acts of integrity on top of one another until they become a tidal wave. Every decision made from clarity sets a new foundation for what's possible. Every time you step up from the place of knowing rather than needing approval, you strengthen your position. Tangible results start to accumulate, not to fulfill onlookers' fantasies, but as a consequence of you living openly in your gift. The legend others spun about you is now mirrored in your reality, not as a performance, but as a natural outpouring of what you're no longer hiding. Life is a lot like the roots of an old stubborn tree, the kind that grows deep into the earth, steady through storms, invisible to the world, but holding everything upright. When nobody was watching, your soul was digging deep. Those quiet seasons weren't empty. They were the years your spirit was anchoring itself, reaching for a kind of strength the surface could never offer. While others rushed to bloom for the crowd, you let God turn your stillness into substance. It was in those unseen moments, when the world thought you were finished, that heaven was quietly building your foundation. See, your time away wasn't about running from pressure or hiding from battles. It was preparation. Like a potter shaping clay in the dark, your Creator was giving you the kind of resilience that can't be washed away by a hard season or stolen by someone's opinion. Each new moment of breakthrough, every small victory, became like another ring in the trunk of your spirit, evidence that you're not the same person you were before the fire. The steps you took, one after the other, started stacking up, even if nobody else saw how much effort it cost you. Those moments you wanted to give up but stood your ground. They became the bricks and mortar of a life that can't be shaken now. Before you knew it, something was happening that you couldn't plan or force on your own. Momentum. The blessings started multiplying. People began to notice a change in you, a gravity in your presence that pulled in the right people and the right opportunities. It's like you became a lighthouse, no longer drifting in the fog, but guiding others home without even trying. That stability you built in the dark is now shining out for the world to see. They look at you and can't understand why doors open, why support shows up, why solutions seem to find you. But deep down, you know it wasn't luck or shortcuts. It was the work you did when nobody was watching. It was choosing faith over fear, persistence over giving in. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to his plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially far beyond your expectations. Remember, his protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of his divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as his mighty rock. Witness God's miracles, feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul, and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed and let the light of the Lord guide your path. And now, everything you built in silence is strong enough to hold the vision God has for your future. Your roots are so deep that storms can't topple you. The slow and steady process, the patience, the discipline, the trust in something bigger than yourself, has created a foundation that's ready to support the next chapter. This is more than success. It's divine sustainability. Others might have started fast, but you're here to finish strong. That's what being chosen really means. Not skipping the hard parts, but allowing them to become the very ground you stand on. So, let the world see the fruit, but never forget it was the quiet years that gave you the roots. When you move forward now, you do it with a confidence that can't be faked, a peace that comes from knowing your life was shaped by the hand of God in the hidden places. This is just the beginning. What he's building on the inside is about to be revealed on the outside, and nothing can stop it now. Momentum, when it grows from genuine alignment, eventually takes on a life of its own. The convergence of reputation, relationships, and clear intent is accelerating, carrying you to opportunities faster than you can prepare for them. While others are busy trying to map out how you reach this stage, you are already several steps ahead, laying the groundwork for even bigger expansions. The network that formed in the mystery of your evolution now acts as scaffolding for everything that's coming next. The admiration you earned by refusing to explain yourself is now the very key that unlocks higher levels of the journey. What's most astonishing is that the stories made up about you, far from exaggerating, might actually have underestimated the scope of what you're destined to accomplish now that you are operating from the full measure of your truth, liberated from the need for permission or approval. If you feel God's presence, you can tap the join button below to become part of the first chosen ones and receive the most important revelations early. You navigated through waves of distortion and distraction without ever needing to address the noise. Instead of responding to every rumor or rumor monger, you poured your energy into crafting something lasting and substantial. While others busied themselves weaving stories and speculation, you quietly built foundations that couldn't be shaken by gossip or doubt. The narratives spun around, your name were transformed into stepping stones as you embodied the integrity and consistency that spoke louder than any rebuttal. True leaders don't waste their breath defending their territory. They simply continue to grow roots so deep that no storm can uproot them. With every steady decision to honor your path, the outside world slowly awakened to a truth you had always carried within. That real authority is seated in authenticity, and nothing fabricated by others can touch what is lived from the inside out. Stepping back from the chaos wasn't about hiding from scrutiny. It was about fortifying your spirit for the journey ahead. The pause was not a mask for secrecy, but a conscious act of preparation and discernment. Emerging from this space wasn't some grand reveal. It was simply a natural evolution, the next logical phase for someone who has always followed an inner compass instead of outside direction. The most astonishing chapters of your life are just beginning to unfold, and those who tried to define you with guesses and hearsay are about to witness a reality that outshines every theory. Their most imaginative tales will seem small beside the magnitude of what you're truly destined to accomplish.